The rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen is more than just a race for points. It is a clash of generations. One is a 7-time champion seeking immortality, while the other is a fearless challenger rewriting the history books. Lewis Hamilton entered the sport in 2007 as a prodigy, quickly becoming the face of Formula One. By the time he faced Verstappen, he had already equaled Michael Schumacher's record of 7 world titles. Max Verstappen was the youngest driver ever to start a Grand Prix, debuting at just 17 years old. He was a sensation from the start, known for an aggressive, uncompromising style that ruffled the feathers of the established guard. For years, Hamilton and Mercedes dominated the turbo-hybrid era with clinical efficiency. Between 2014 and 2020, Hamilton won 6 championships, making the top step of the podium his second home. While Hamilton was winning titles, Verstappen was honing his craft at Red Bull Racing. He proved he could win even without the fastest car, taking stunning victories in Spain, Austria, and Brazil. The 2021 season was the true catalyst for their legendary rivalry. For the first time, Red Bull produced a car, the RB16B, that could consistently challenge the Mercedes dominance on every circuit. The season opener in Bahrain set the tone for the entire year. Verstappen took pole, but a brilliant tactical masterclass from Mercedes allowed Hamilton to narrowly claim the win after a tense late race battle. At Imola, the rivalry got physical for the first time. In wet conditions, Verstappen forced his way past Hamilton at the start, making contact and signaling that he would not give an inch of racing room. As the European leg of the season progressed, the momentum swung back and forth. Hamilton won in Portugal and Spain, while Verstappen dominated in Monaco and France, taking the lead in the championship. By the time they reached Silverstone, the tension was at a breaking point. Hamilton was desperate to close the gap at his home race, leading to one of the most controversial moments in F1 history. On the opening lap at Copse Corner, the two collided at nearly 180 miles per hour. Verstappen was sent spiraling into the tire barriers in a massive 51G impact, while Hamilton went on to win the race. The crash at Silverstone ignited a war of words between Mercedes and Red Bull. Red Bull's Christian Horner and Mercedes' Toto Wolff became key figures in the psychological battle happening off the track. The drama continued at Monza, the Temple of Speed. As they battled for position, Verstappen's car launched over the curbs and landed directly on top of Hamilton's Mercedes, ending both their races. This incident proved that neither driver was willing to back down. The unstoppable force had met the immovable object, and the stewards began to take a harder line on their aggressive wheel-to-wheel combat. Throughout the autumn, the championship was a seesaw. Verstappen won in the USA and Mexico, building a significant points lead that seemed almost insurmountable with only a few races remaining. But Hamilton found a new gear in Brazil. Despite a series of penalties that saw him start from the back of the grid, he produced one of the greatest drives of his career to overtake Verstappen and win. The victory in Brazil revitalized Hamilton's campaign. He followed it up with dominant wins in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, setting the stage for a winner-takes-all finale in Abu Dhabi. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix was perhaps the most chaotic of all. Multiple restarts, collisions, and a bizarre brake testing incident left the two rivals level on points heading into the last race. Never before in the modern era had two title contenders entered the final race with exactly the same number of points. The world watched as the Yas Marina circuit prepared for a historic night. Hamilton dominated the majority of the race, leading comfortably and looking certain to claim his 8th world title. Verstappen and Red Bull were out of answers until a late race crash changed everything. Nicolas Latifi hit the wall with 5 laps to go, bringing out the safety car. Red Bull gambled, bringing Verstappen in for fresh soft tires, while Hamilton remained on track with worn hard tires. Then came the decision that would be debated for years. Race director Michael Massey allowed only the lapped cars between Hamilton and Verstappen to unlap themselves, setting up a 1-lap sprint. On the final lap of the final race, the championship was decided. With much more grip, Verstappen lunged down the inside of Hamilton at turn 5 to take the lead in the World Championship. Verstappen crossed the line to become the first Dutch world champion. Hamilton was left stunned in his car, having seen a record-breaking title vanish in the final seconds. The aftermath was a firestorm of controversy. Mercedes protested the results, but Verstappen's title was eventually upheld. The rivalry had transcended sport, becoming a global cultural phenomenon. After the heartbreak of 2021, 2022 brought a total reset with new technical regulations. The era of ground effect cars began, shifting the balance of power in the paddock significantly. While Red Bull mastered the new rules, Mercedes struggled. Their cars suffered from porpoising, a violent bouncing at high speeds, which left Hamilton unable to fight for wins. Max Verstappen, on the other hand, entered a period of unprecedented dominance. With his rival out of the hunt, he began breaking records for the most wins in a single season. Even when they weren't fighting for the title, the spark between them remained. Anytime they found themselves near each other on track, the intensity of 2021 would immediately resurface. At the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix, the two collided once again. It was a reminder that neither had forgotten the past, and that the competitive fire still burned just as bright. 2023 was the year Max Verstappen became truly untouchable. He won 19 out of 22 races, a level of dominance that even Hamilton at his peak had never achieved. For Hamilton, 2023 was a year of patience. He worked tirelessly with his team to solve the car's issues, proving his dedication to the sport despite not having a winning machine. Despite the lack of wins, Hamilton's stock remained high. He secured a stunning pole position in Hungary, proving to the world that his raw speed was still very much there. The rivalry began to shift from on-track battles to a battle of legacies. Fans and pundits debated who was the better driver, the master of the previous era or the king of the current one. In early 2024, the F1 world was rocked by the news that Lewis Hamilton would leave Mercedes to join Ferrari for the 2025 season. It was the transfer of the century. This move signaled Hamilton's final push for that elusive eighth title. To do it, he knew he would eventually have to face Verstappen in what could be the final chapter of their saga. Meanwhile, 2024 saw the field finally start to close in on Red Bull. Verstappen had to work harder than ever as McLaren and Mercedes found significant performance gains. At the 2024 British Grand Prix, Hamilton finally broke his winless streak. In a highly emotional race, he took his 9th victory at Silverstone, further cementing his status as a legend. Verstappen congratulated his rival, showing a growing maturity and respect between the two that was rarely seen during the heat of the 2021 season. The rivalry had evolved from open hostility to a grudging mutual respect. They recognized that they had pushed each other to levels of performance that few others could reach. As the 2024 season progressed, Verstappen secured his 4th consecutive world title. He joined the elite ranks of drivers like Vettel, Prost, and Hamilton himself. Now, in 2025, the landscape has changed. Hamilton is in the iconic red of Ferrari, while Verstappen continues to lead the charge for Red Bull. The rivalry has a new, vibrant backdrop. The move to Ferrari has rejuvenated Hamilton. He looks more motivated than ever, driven by the dream of winning a title with the most famous team in racing history. Verstappen remains the benchmark. His consistency and relentless pace make him the man everyone, including Hamilton, has to beat to win. Their driving styles are still distinct. Hamilton is the smooth, calculated technician, while Verstappen is the aggressive, instinctive attacker. Both are equally effective. The fans remain divided. The Orange Army follows Verstappen across the globe, while Team LH supports Hamilton with unmatched passion and loyalty. Off the track, their personalities differ as well. Hamilton is a fashion icon and activist, while Verstappen is a pure racer who spends his free time on sim racing rigs. As they enter the twilight of their rivalry, every battle between them is savored by fans. We are witnessing two of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport competing at the same time. Whether Hamilton gets his 8th or Verstappen continues his climb toward double digits, their names will be forever linked in the annals of Formula One. The rivalry of Hamilton versus Verstappen isn't just about who is faster. It's about the spirit of competition itself. It is a story of two champions who refuse to lose.